morning everyone and welcome back to another reading vlog. How are you guys doing? I hope you had an amazing week. And yes, we are here back and again with another reading vlog. And during this reading vlog, I am, as you can see from the title, going to read the first book in the Stormlight Archive series, The Way of Kings. But before I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update about this one, I kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a live update as well. I've pre-filmed all my videos for February right now and I'm actually really happy. I'm editing them and uploading them all on YouTube, so they're all ready to go because I also set the date for my moving to my new apartment. I'm going to move the 27th of March, so that's like the last weekend of March. And this kind of gives me a lot of room to start packing, painting, but also kind of takes off the pressure of having to film each week because February is also a very busy month for my work as well. It's a really busy time at the moment, so that's going to be all fine, I suppose. I'm really looking forward to it being April and me sitting in my new apartment, everything being done. Just having to pack everything out. I'm really looking forward to that moment. I also talked about in my last reading vlog about not really wanting to move to my apartment and being really sad about it. And I still am. I am having a really hard time to accept that this is going to be my fourth home and that it isn't going to be the home that I had hoped for. So that is kind of really hard, and it's harder than I expected it to be, which is also may sound really childish, or maybe I don't know how you guys think of it, but I know it makes me really unhappy, and at the same time also really happy that I found a place, because we still have to be out of here before the end of April. So I have something to move. I can take all my stuff with me, and that's really important, and I am happy. I'm just not excited, and that's really weird actually, to have that feeling of not having that excitement feeling of having to decorate your new home. However, at the beginning I first decided to not do anything to the new house, just paint the walls white and leave it at that. But after talking with a couple of friends and my family, they kind of also convinced me to at least decorate it a little bit more how I want it, because I don't know how long I'll be in my new apartment. I am looking at it as a temporary home because I still want to find a home that suits me more, I suppose. But I in the end decided to decorate the living room and my bedroom because those are the places I'm spending most of my time. So I decided to kind of still choose a wallpaper and different painting than white for my living room and also for my bedroom. I always wanted to rearrange my furniture. Well, not rearrange, but I choose everything white for my previous apartment when it came to furniture. And that was the reason for that was it was really small. It was also a pretty dark apartment, so I ended up choosing all white furniture. And at the time they didn't really have the furniture that I wanted for like a lower price, and didn't have a lot of money to spend, so I ended up choosing most of the stuff white and very cheap from the IKEA. And I do want to change everything up, so I am going to get new bookshelves, and I'm going to get a new table in the living room as well, and I'm going to change up some of my furniture as well, which is exciting. This is definitely something that I want to do. At the same time, it's also a little weird. It's weird not moving to a house that you kind of are excited about, but won't talk about it anymore. But I am going to show you guys the wallpaper and the paint. I'll take you guys along a little bit with the renovating of the apartments. As I said, I'm not going to do a lot, just change a couple of colors. I'm also not really allowed to do a lot of stuff. Like, I really hate the kitchen. Like, I really hate it. Like, it's not even that I dislike it. I just really is not what I wanted, but I'm not allowed to change it, so I'm going to live with it, and we'll see. I think that after the move and I've put all my stuff there, it will probably feel a lot more like home, and it will probably be nicer than it's looking right now. But yeah, anyhow, enough chit chat about me and my apartment mostly. But let's talk about what you really came for, and that is The Way of Kings. And this is the first book in the Stormlight Archive series. And this is not my first book by Brandon Sanderson. I also have read like Mistborn and Warbreaker, which are actually standing right here behind me. And I started reading this one. I also want to give you guys a little bit of an update about the Dandelion Dynasty, The Grace of Kings. As I mentioned in my wrap up, I was going to try to read this, and I have read a little bit. as I mentioned in my wrap up as well. And I have a really hard time getting in this story. I don't know, maybe it's not for me, but I also feel it's not the right time. I feel I'm not really able to give this book a fair chance because my mind is going everywhere and ever. And I feel that this book, even though I really think that it has a very beautiful writing style, I have a very hard time connecting with the story. And one of the biggest reasons is I'm a character-driven reader, and I am starting to realize that we are jumping from character to character in this book, and we are getting this way, we kind of like get to see everything about society, and we get to see everything about the world and the country that we are visiting in this book. But that also means that do not really have someone to cling on. I don't really have someone to enjoy following throughout the story. And I just have a really hard time getting connected with this book. So I decided to put this away. It is not a hard DNF, like I still want to give this a try. But I am planning on giving this a try after I have moved and settled down in my apartment. Simply because right now I need something fast-paced. I need something that I am able to grab onto very, very easily, so I am hooked straight away because there are so many things I have to do. I simply do not have the time to kind of like push myself trying to read a different story, which I have to do with Dandelion Dynasty. And I'm sad about it because I thought I was really going to love it, and at the moment I am not. So I still want to give this a go, but I wanted to give it a more fair chance and get back to the book and back to the story after I moved. So I decided to pick up Way of Kings. And I know some of you might think, why do you pick up a different epic series if you are not getting into another one? But it really has to do with the writing style. As soon as I started reading this, I actually had planned on giving you guys an update after each part of the story. And I couldn't put it down. I started reading this. I was completely hooked. There is something about the writing style of Brandon Sanderson that I just really am able to get into the story very, very quickly. I love his fast-paced writing style. Love the way he describes and develops his characters. I love the way he describes the world, gives me slowly all these details, and I really love his action scenes as well. And as you can see, I am pretty far in. I'm 1/4 into the book at chapter 16. As you can see, I am already in part 2. I wanted to give you guys an update after part 1, but I just couldn't put it down, and I forgot about even having and wanting to start this reading vlog. So yeah, I'm a really good YouTuber when it comes to that. And I just continued reading. I'm just hooked. I love it so much. I'm really enjoying the characters we met. We met Shallan, Kaladin. I also met, I do want to put out a disclaimer, do not come after me for pronouncing these names. Like, I am really bad with pronouncing names, and my students know that about me as well. I'm always having a hard time with pronouncing a lot of different names, and I am also having a hard time with these names. And now I can't find the names of the people that I'm also following in the part 2. But, oh yeah, Dalinar I'm also following, and I'm following Elodin, I think his name was. I'm also following Adolin, and I'm following Dalinar. And I am just really, really excited about it. I love the fast-paced stories, the action scenes we have got so far. I don't really know where the story is going. I kind of feel we just started to get to know the characters, the important characters. We are starting to get to know the world very slowly. But I just really love his writing style. That is something that he pulls me straight to the story, and he just gets this grip on me, and I'm not able to put this book down. And I'm really enjoying it so far. The action scenes we got were a lot of fun. I really love Kaladin as well. I love his journey with the army and also his time in imprisonment. And I'm also really enjoying the little bits we get to see about the king, the dynasty, and Dalinar and Adolin, who are, they are kind of like part of the guard of the king as well, and that's something that I'm really enjoying to see. And I love the family dynamic that is between Dalinar and Adolin as well. And yeah, I can't wait to see where the story is going. I will give you guys a better update later on because I really have to go to work.
So it's been actually like 2 weeks, I think, almost 3 weeks since my last update and when I started this reading vlog. And I've been sick in those weeks and I am still not feeling better, as you might be able to hear on my voice. I didn't have a voice for almost a whole week and I was feeling really horrendous. And yeah, I was just not really feeling that well, which also meant that I didn't really read nor film. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why the beginning of this vlog might not be exactly as how I wanted it to be. Anyhow, that doesn't really matter. I think you guys still come here for the reading updates, not per se. I think for the little b-rolls that I put in between those little updates. But just a little quick live update. We have actually started renovating my apartment, which you saw some footage of, and I'll probably show you a lot more after this reading update. But yeah, we actually went and we painted all the ceilings. A lot of the walls already painted. We tried to do the wallpaper, but there was something wrong with the wall. We're not entirely sure how that's going to look and if it's going to stick at the wall. So that's something that we'll find out as soon as we get back into the apartment. But yeah, we actually were able to do quite a lot more than I thought we were going to do. Especially because I ended up being sick. So I wasn't really able to do a lot of myself. So I'm very, very lucky that my dad especially and my mother as well have done quite a lot of things in my apartment. And yeah, we even went to France to get new bookshelves. And I know that sounds maybe ridiculous, but I had my eyes set on a certain color bookshelves that the IKEA had from the Billy bookshelf arrangement. And the color that I really wanted, they did have it like a couple of years ago in the Netherlands. They don't have it anymore. So we ended up renting a van, we went to France, we got the new bookshelves, and no, the bookshelves behind me aren't those new bookshelves, they are still my old ones. I'm going to sell them from this house and I'm going to set up my new bookshelves, obviously in my new apartment. Because it's like only like 4 weeks, so I'm not going to put on the bookshelves here and then take them to my new apartment. I'll do everything when we get there. I'm really happy with how that part of my life is really going, and I also was able to read for the last 2 days again because I'm still sick, but I was feeling a little bit better. So I ended up turning off the TV and I started reading again In the Way of Kings, and I'm currently at page 597 and I'm at chapter 13:1, Beneath the Skin. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I am already in part 3. So I finished part 2. And I must admit that part 2 was not my favorite so far. Mostly because I am not a big fan of Dalinar and Dandelion. And I kind of feel, especially Dalinar, we were following a lot in part 2. I'm a huge fan of Cal. Like, I really, really love his character. I love his character development. I love his situation that he's currently in. Because in this book, for now, we're still like at the war site. And we kind of like travel through the war camps and then through different ranks. Like Dalinar and Dandelion, they are like more higher in the rank. Dalinar is a high prince. He's general of the army, very close to the king. He's actually the uncle of the king. And Dandelion is his son. And they kind of like decide on how the war is going. They talk a lot about potential betrayals in the politics and in the war as well. They're also talking about how they can win the war or if they should stop. And they are trying to convince, at least Dalinar was trying to convince the king of stopping the war because he felt that peace was better than stay at war. Which kind of like makes sense, I suppose. And I did really enjoy, like, don't get me wrong, but I really prefer Cal's perspective. I think there's a lot more humor in there and I just really love his development, and I really like how we slowly get to know more about him by these little time jumps you have as well, where you kind of get to see him when he's younger with his parents, and it's something that I'm really enjoying. And Dalinar I actually find a little bit more interesting than Dandelion, to be quite honest, and that definitely has to do with the fact that Dalinar has these visions. Every time when there's like this big storm, Dalinar gets these visions, and a lot of people start to think because of these visions that he's slowly getting mad because he's quite old, and his brother kind of also became, well, not that entirely mad, but he kind of was starting to change as well, and they are thinking that he's changing too because of the visions. And he really believes that his visions that he sees, everything is either the future or they're telling him something and they're real. And a lot of people, his sons included, they don't really believe that, and they think that he's slowly losing his mind. And that's also one of the reasons why he decides to kind of step down and give his rank to Adeline. But I don't think we'll see any more of that until part 4, because every time a new part starts, you actually see the names of the people you're following. And that's something that I'm really enjoying as well. You get a lot of different information, because it is a lot. Like, to be quite honest, I am almost at page 600 and I'm not even halfway through the book. So there's so many things going on, and there's a lot of things, a lot of world building, a lot of different names. And I finally, like, when I started reading a new chapter about Shalon, I suddenly realized that the woman she's working for, Genoa, I think her name is, she is also related to Dalinar and Adeline. And somehow I didn't really make that connection when her name came up in one of the chapters about Dalinar. And I didn't really make that connection. But now I was reading further and I read like one of those chapters about Shalon. And I suddenly realized like, oh, they're connected as well. Because to be quite honest, that wasn't that entirely clear to me. There are so many little details that I have to pay attention to. I'm definitely taking my time with this book. And I'm really enjoying it so far. As I said, Cal's perspective is definitely my favorite so far. It has probably has to do with the fact that there's a lot more humor in there. And I really love to see how he's slowly becoming this leader of the bridge group. And he is like one of the lower ranks in this war, because they're like all at the same place in these war camps. And he's like in charge of Bridge 4 team. And they are actually carrying the bridges to the wars, to the fighting place, so that the soldiers can go over these bridges, and they have to carry them. And it's this very dangerous job. They are not told to fight, they're just told to carry those bridges along with them. And if they get hurt, they die, and they have to be left behind as soon as they are rounded. And Cal kind of decides that he doesn't want to lose any of his men anymore. And he's slowly training them to be better. And he also brought some of the wounded back to the camp, which kind of got him also in a little bit of trouble. But I really love his character. I love how he kind of has a part of him that really cares. And he has this survival urge that he's really trying to kind of like establish also to his men, to make sure that they want to survive as well. And he really wants to see if he can get out of this war and maybe change everything for the better. And he's also interested. I think he's probably one of the characters at the moment that I feel huge potential for his character development throughout the rest of the story. With Dalinar, I'm not entirely sure. They're also talking a lot about these shard bringers that they're trying to get. These are like very important magical swords that suddenly appear to the people that they belong to. And they are so special and so powerful that they can easily help you win the war. So more shard bringers, I think they're called. They have the more important and the more chance they have in winning the war and have like a higher status and stuff like that. And I don't know, I kind of hope that Cal actually gets one of those. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure where this is going to go. I'm still not sure, but I am really enjoying it so far. I especially love the world building, and I love the writing style from Brandon Sanderson. That definitely makes it a lot easier to read, at least from my perspective, I think. And I am just really looking forward to all these chapters that are about Cal. That's kind of like the thing that I am really yearning to and that I'm really enjoying the most. Yeah, I'm pretty happy that I'm that far in, and I'm also quite happy with the edition that I got, because when I got these little editions I wasn't entirely sure about them. I really wanted a hardback, but they're quite expensive, and because I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to feel about the series, I didn't really want to spend that much money on these books. So I ended up buying these little paperbacks. I really enjoy the back of these paperbacks, because even though I am opening them quite far, because otherwise I can't read it, they don't crack, at least not yet. So I'm really happy with how it looks, because I've been really opening this up quite a lot, which I normally don't really do when I read a paperback, but because it is so big, it is quite hard to get into the center of the book, so you really have to open it. But I'm really happy to see that it doesn't really affect the back as much as I thought it was going to. So yeah, not at all actually. So if you are wondering what edition to get and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I would definitely suggest get these paperbacks. Yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it, and I don't think I will go to hardbacks anytime soon. I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to continue reading this because I really want to know more about this. And yeah, before I'm going to continue reading, I also have to pack for Disneyland Paris because we're finally going to Disneyland Paris. Even though I'm still sick, like I don't, to be quite honest, I am really looking forward to it, but the weather is not going to be that great. It's going to rain and I'm still not feeling that well either. So this is definitely going to be one of those trips that I am thankful it is not my first time going, and it is one of my many visits to Disneyland Paris, so I don't really mind where we're going. At least I am planning on going a little bit slow the next couple of days, just enjoy the shows and see how the weather is going to be. I really hope it's not going to be that horrendous. I did spray like with some protective spray my coat and my shoes as well, in the hope that not a lot of water will get through. Really hoping about that. And I'm also taking some plastic bags with me to put inside of my backpack as well. And yeah, I made a list of everything that I need to pack. I just have to get everything, put everything in my weekend bag and in my backpack as well, and then I am all set to go. I'm not entirely sure yet which sweaters I'll wear because I have way too many to choose from. But yeah, I am still planning on filming, even though the rain might prevent me from filming as much as I want. So we'll see how that will go, but stay tuned and for the lookout on maybe some Disneyland Paris vlogs as extra videos here and there somewhere in April, I think. I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to post them in March, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's that, and I'm going to pack and I'm going to read, and I think I'm going to chill and relax for the rest of the day. So I got back from Disney and we had an amazing job. And if you're interested to see how everything went for those 3 days, I'll be posting an extra video, like 2 extra videos. There will be a Disney vlog of the 3 days and a Disney haul in what I'll show you guys everything that I bought at Disney, because I bought quite a lot. And so if you're interested in that, I'll link them down in the description box down below. I'm not entirely sure if they'll be either before or just after this video on the channel, but stay tuned for that. Anyhow, I'm still not well. Like when we went to Disney, I was still sick. So that kind of like meant being sick at Disney. It's not the first time I did that, but I was definitely the sickest I've ever been in Disney. And
that was not the greatest experience, to be quite honest, because Disney itself takes quite a lot of energy. I always feel like we always make very long days, rise up early in the morning, go to the magic hour time, and then just go to the end of the day till like 11 o'clock or something. So it was an amazing time, don't get me wrong. Like, we had so much fun and it was so great being back. And we even are already planning our next trip for autumn, for like the Halloween season. And yeah, it was just amazing. But anyhow, I'm still not feeling well, and I've been quite sick, and I still am, and I just haven't been reading as much as I wanted to from the Way of Kings. I'll get into that in just a sec. But I have like trying to find something a little bit more light to read, something where I don't really have to pay a lot of attention while reading, if you get what I mean. Because I definitely feel that with the Way of Kings, I really have to focus a little bit more when I'm reading. I really take in all the details, because there's so many things being explained, and it is great, don't get me wrong, but it definitely takes a lot more focus. So I picked up Fate, Inked and Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the first book I ever read by her, and to be quite fair, I have mixed feelings even now about this book. I finished this a little bit over a week ago, and I finished this in actually one day. Like, I was able to read this in one sitting, and I really enjoyed the beginning, and to be quite honest, I got bored throughout the rest of the book, and I felt that the characters were very stereotyped, didn't have a lot of development to them. The story itself was a little bit all over the place, and I didn't really like the romance. Like, it was very on the nose from the beginning that they were going to fall in love, and I don't normally mind this as long as there are still like some development aspect to the love story and the romance as well, and I kind of felt that that was severely lacking in this book. And I don't know, I did really like the writing style, so I'm definitely intrigued to read The Bridge Kingdom, which was actually one of the books that I wanted to read first before this, by this author, because that's been like on my TBR list for years now, and I still haven't got around to it. But this one was available in the library, so I picked this one up, and yeah, I read it, and I must admit that I really enjoyed the writing style. I liked the world building, I loved the magic system in this book as well. I just wasn't that big of a fan of the characters, and not of the romance either. I couldn't really care, I could care less, and I just didn't really, it was not that interesting to me. I was not planning on continuing the series, but if you think that I should, just let me know in the comment section down below. But to be quite fair, at the moment, I'm not into this story that much, that I am like, oh my gosh, I want to continue and read more about these people in this world. Like, it was a fun ride, I really enjoyed it. It's not a bad book, don't get me wrong. I think it is very enjoyable, but it just wasn't for me, to be quite fair. And this is a book about a girl who is already married, and then the king comes along and he finds out that she has this magical power that makes her very unique, but also very, very powerful. And the king decides that he actually wants to marry her because he thinks she'll be able to unite all the kingdoms together, and that she will probably fulfill a certain prophecy. So he does this, he marries her. He doesn't marry her out of love, but he marries her mostly severely just for her power. And she gets to be guarded by his son Bjorn, and when she's guarded by him, well, they kind of like develop this relationship, which is quite obviously from the beginning. They really get it going. They have a lot of great banter. To be quite honest, I really enjoyed their banter at the beginning of the book. I felt it got a little bit tiresome, especially the same jokes throughout the rest of the story. But yeah, that's just kind of like the premise of the story, and obviously her magical power grows and grows and grows. There are other people who want this magical power as well, and because she doesn't really love the king either, there's this thing that's happening to herself as well. She doesn't really know if she wants to do what she set out to do, and there's just a lot of inner conflicts going on. There's a lot of politics thrown around, which I normally really enjoy and love, but this time around I just didn't care. Like, when I read the premise, and even after reading the book, I felt like this was a book that I should really, really enjoy, but in the end it just felt a little bit boring, and I felt that there were a lot of things very obvious from the start on. And yeah, just wasn't really my cup of tea, but I really still think that if you are interested in a book, just give it a go, because it's not a bad book. Then I also picked up The House at Pooh Corner. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. It's not the first time I read this. It's a reread for me. I read this, I think about, oh dear, I think it's like 10 years ago. Yeah, I'm getting older, so it's probably about 10 years ago that I read this for the last time. And I'm really enjoying it again. I love being on adventures with little Pooh and Piglet, and they started off building this house for Eeyore. Well, Eeyore already built his own house, but they took his house and built it somewhere else. It's just, there are so many funny things, and also this little story where Tigger actually comes to the forest for the first time and he doesn't know what he wants to eat. So they're trying to figure out what he likes, and they kind of like realize that he loves the medicine from Rue, and like all the little stuff. The day that Christopher Robin suddenly disappears, no one really knows what he's doing in the morning. So it's like this big riddle that they have to solve together, and they really rely on Rabbit and Al because they're supposed to be the wisest of them all. And in the end, it's kind of like Eeyore who actually solves it. It's just a very enjoyable read. I love it so much. I think the drawings itself, they're stunning. Like, I love these beautiful drawings. They're so stunning. It's so cute, and I love looking at them. Like, I have another copy, and I think the copy that I own is in Dutch, but it has like the black and white drawings. This has like the color drawings, and I really like this so much. So it's just the first book in the whole series, but I kind of am intrigued to see if I can find all the other books in the same edition. It's a second-hand buy, so probably it's going to be very difficult to find them because this edition is very old, but I'm really hoping I'll be able to, and otherwise I'll hope there's an edition coming out, or it's just been released, which I will be buying for my mom, but she doesn't watch my channel, so I can just sell that. And I know that has like the same drawings as in this one, so I might be tempted to buy that one edition for myself as well, because it's like the complete works. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. Oops, sorry, you're currently balancing on paint. Not entirely sure if balancing on paint for my camera is the right thing to go. I just really hope you don't fall in, but we'll see. I'll show you guys around, because we are not in my older house. We're currently in my new apartment with my new wallpaper, which makes me so happy. But I'll show you guys around in just a sec and what we did and everything. But let's just talk about The Way of Kings, because that's kind of like what you came for here, obviously. And the reason why I haven't continued reading The Way of Kings as much as I wanted to, because I kind of had hoped to be at part 4 right now, and I'm still like 150 pages away from that. I'm currently at chapter 41. And that means I'm like at page 723, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the book. I really enjoy especially Kaladin's chapters. I already said that before in the last update. Like, he really makes the book for me. Like, he's the reason why I continue reading. I love his character development. I love the little moments we kind of are thrown into his past. We get to know him a little bit better as a child, his parents as well, and his family situation, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of the story as well. I love how his character is developing and is growing, and the way he is really caring for the people of Bridge 4, and how he really sees them as his men and that he needs to take care of them. And I just really enjoy his character, and I really feel that his character currently has the most development. Also, the story has the most development on his side, and I kind of feel that there is potential, and I see kind of like where this might go. However, with the other characters, I'm still in part 3, so that means that I'm also following Shallan. I really hope I pronounce her name right. And I must admit, I actually find her character a little bit more interesting, maybe because she's also a girl. Like, I know I'm not supposed to say that, but I really always love following women because I have a little bit more, it's easier sometimes for me to kind of like see myself as them, like try to connect a little bit better, I suppose. I'm not sure if that sounds sexist or anything, but I don't mean it that way. I'm always a little bit more interested. I always like to know the situations of the women in these type of roles, like how they live, and how that is for that culture, because it is obviously in different world, and I really love to see how she's been treated and how she's able to learn, and she's enjoying herself so much, but also so conflicted because of the thing that she set out to do. She's supposed to steal the soul caster, and she actually ends up doing that, but she doesn't end up doing it because that was the reason why she is there. She ends up doing it because she actually gets angry with, I think her name is Genoa or something. I keep forgetting her name. But the princess name? Oh, Jasna. And because Jasna kills a couple of people, and I kind of feel that Shalan is a little bit childish about it, because I kind of like got the point of view from Jasna actually, and I understood why she did it. But that being said, I am really enjoying her character a little bit more than Delinor's character, to be quite honest. So I am enjoying this part a little bit better than I did with part 2. But still, Caladan is kind of like the chapters that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm really craving those chapters, and I love following on his journey. I love seeing what he's going to do, and that's kind of like what makes me really enjoy this book the most, to be quite fair. And yeah, I am definitely curious still to see where this is going, because currently Caladan, actually, I feel, is he going to get like this magical power or something? That's kind of like what I am starting to realize, because you had this moment where he was punished and was being hang up upside down, and he had to kind of like set out his punishment by the Stormfather. The Stormfather in the storm would decide if he was going to live or die, and in the end he survives the storm. So but when he survives, they're trying to heal him because he has certain wounds, and the storm obviously took his toll on him. But he's able to like observe the gemstones, and because of that I'm kind of starting to feel that because he was observing the gemstones, he gets better. So I think there might be some magical element to him, that there might be something going on there. I'm really intrigued to see and find out what's going to happen, and yeah, that was something that I'm really looking forward to. I kind of feel that his storyline is slowly getting there. So yeah, that's kind of like my update for now. My battery is almost dying, which really sucks, because I wanted to show you guys around, which I'm going to do now, because otherwise I won't be able to do it anyway. But yeah, that's kind of like everything I read. I read like 150, 200 pages or something like that yesterday, so I'm not that far in since my last update. But I'll catch up with you guys very soon. But now let me show you what we did. As I said, the wallpaper. My dad was so kindly to put the wallpaper up in the living room, which is currently looking like this. And I am obsessed. Like, look at the flowers. I really love the flowers of this wallpaper. It's so stunning. I have to admit that the walls in the living room are horrendous to paint and to put wallpaper on, because they have a very thick texture, and we didn't really know what to do with it. So yeah, it really sucks. My dad has been like 2 days with the wallpaper on the other side, and I'm going to paint this one green today. So I'll be doing that later on. And everything else is kind of like just been turned white. Like we did the whole hallway, which is completely white at the moment. We also painted the kitchen. Everything just simple, plain white. I actually painted the hallway here. I'm still going to paint like these things from the door. We're not going to paint the doors themselves, but we will paint like these things on the side. And my dad also started on the wallpaper in the bedroom. And I really like this wallpaper a lot. But even here you can kind of like see on the video as well that the walls are so horrendous that it's kind of like coming through the wallpaper. So that sucks. My dad bought something. This was supposed to help with putting on the wallpaper, but it isn't really helping. Like, it's not making it as easy as it was supposed to be. And my niece is also colored to the other side, which I love. I'm obsessed with this color. I think it will really look great with the forest theme. And yeah, that's kind of like everything we did. We just have been painting a lot, and I'll be continue painting as well today. So yeah, I'm going to clear up everything in the living room. My goal for today is to kind of like finish the living room. Want to paint this wall green, and then kind of like paint all the little details white. And yeah, hopefully I'll be done by this around 4 o'clock, because then I want to tidy everything up and go back home. So that's kind of like what I'm doing right now. I wish I could continue reading The Way of Kings, but I do not have the ebook or the audiobook. So I'll continue this tonight, and I'll probably continue reading some of the ebooks or audiobooks that I'm currently listening to as well. So I'll probably listen to that. So yeah, I probably should stop rambling and get going.
I mean, what's it all about? You want to mean something?
Good morning. It's currently 2 days after me finishing The Way of Kings, and I'm still reading The House at Pooh Corner. I haven't finished this yet. I probably won't finish this during this reading vlog, since it is going to be my last and final update and my last thoughts about The Way of Kings. But to be quite fair, I love Winnie the Pooh. I'm a huge Winnie the Pooh fan, so I'll definitely like this one. I'm already loving it, and I read this like years ago, so I know I love this, and I would definitely recommend this. Like, if you like Winnie the Pooh, just pick one of those books up. Like, I know they're written towards children, but I definitely feel adults could read them too, especially with all the little things and the huge themes that are also being discussed in these books. And I really love it. It's so heartwarming. I love the drawings. I highly recommend this one. And now let's talk about The Way of Kings. As I said, I actually finished this huge chunky book, my first 1200 page book, I actually think. And I finished this on Sunday after reading 520 pages in one day. And no, I didn't read this in one sitting. Like, I started in the morning and I finished this somewhere around 9 o'clock at night. And yeah, I have so many thoughts, and one of the reasons why I decided to wait a little while before giving you guys my final thoughts and give you guys this update is simply because I had so many thoughts. There were so many things going through my mind after finishing this book. Even reading this book as well, I was very conflicted, because so many people love this book immensely, and I do feel that because of that my expectations were probably a little bit too high, especially because I really love the Mistborn series and I love Warbreaker, and those were like the only 4 books I ever read from Brandon Sanderson. So because of that, they were all 5-star reads. I expected this to be a 5-star read. I really expected that. I really expected to go full on the hype and completely fall in love with this book, and to be quite honest, I didn't. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't fall in love. I definitely feel that this book, and it is a lot, the first 1,000 pages probably around this, I feel it's all a setup. You really get to know the characters, through them you get to know the world, and I have to admit that I really found that very interesting. I loved Kaladin's chapters. I feel that if this book was only about Kaladin, I would give this one a 5-star, because I loved his chapters, I loved his journey, I loved his character development, everything we slowly got to know, the little snippets about his past, his parents, his family. I loved that so much, and I definitely feel that because of him, I was able to completely finish this book, because to be quite fair, I did enjoy Dalinar and Shannon's characters, but to be honest, I didn't feel that they got that interesting until the last
maybe around 300-400 pages, something like that. I read like Delanar's chapters in part 2 and I didn't really enjoy it. I found them quite boring and I didn't really know where this was going on and what was going on, and I didn't really understand where we were going with this. And like in part 3 you don't have Delanar's chapters, but you do have like Shallan's chapters, and at the end of part 3 I really started to enjoy her character a lot more. And I found her very interesting, especially like in the last chapter she has in part 3 that was so interesting, and I really loved her decisions and her reason behind everything that she did. And I really felt for her as well, and I found that just really interesting how everything developed in those last chapters of part 3. And then we get to part 4 where we again have Dalinar as well, but we do not have Shallan. And I have to admit that I don't really care about Adeline and Navani, to be quite fair. Currently I don't feel that we saw a lot from them. I do feel that they didn't have like a lot of character development. I definitely think that Shallan, Dalinar and also Kaladin are like the main characters in this book. And I must admit that in part 4 I was really nervous about the fact that I had again chapters from Dalinar, because I really found them so boring in part 2. But I must admit that I really started to enjoy them so much in part 4. Like I really started to enjoy his character. I found his character very exciting and very, I don't know, there are so many things happening with him. And I just found it just super interesting. And I found that his character just had a great development that I actually cared a lot more about. Then in the last part, and that's just like this little chunky little bit, we had so many characters to follow. Like in the last, I think it is like the last 50-60 pages, we follow Shallan, Dalinar, Kaladin, Seth and Wit. And I actually really liked what happened with Shallan in those last couple of pages. She got just to a certain place that I found interesting, and I'm definitely curious to see what's going to happen. But to me, Kaladin stole the throne. Like, he was amazing from page 1 until the end. I loved his development. I loved how he got to his power, how he slowly starts to learn to deal with his power. I love how he's able to become this leader for Bridge 4, and I love how he is able to get all these people to follow him and to slowly become more human beings. And I loved his character immensely. And because of that, I'm super conflicted about this book, because I feel if it was just him, 5-star plus maybe even. But because of the other characters and how I felt for at least, I think, the first 900, almost to the 1000 pages, I really enjoyed it. And I thought that the world was interesting. I thought the things that were happening were quite interesting. And the writing style from Brandon Sanderson definitely kept me going. But at the same time, I was like, I really don't know where the story is going. And I really don't know if I want to read another 3 books or 4, I think there are. Yeah, of course, there are 4 books left. And they're like so big. And that's like one of my issues I think I have. Like, I could definitely see people DNFing this book. It's quite boring certain times. The pacing of the story is super slow. You really follow them like almost day to day, and it is really slowly paced. And at the same time, I don't really mind slowly paced books, but it is 1200 pages of a slow paced story. The fighting scenes I think are phenomenal, and I really enjoyed it, especially at the end of the book. I think it was top notch. Perfect, just perfect. But I can understand people DNFing this and not continuing even with the series, because to be quite fair, like when I reached like midway through the book, I was not entirely sure. I was really happy that I didn't end up buying the hardbacks, because I really wanted those, but they're quite expensive. And these are a lot smaller, and they're actually easier to read than I thought they were gonna be, because they're quite stern, they're quite difficult to open, but at the same time it doesn't affect the spine that much. It did definitely affect it, obviously. It's a huge book and it's very small, so obviously it affected the spine, but it didn't affect it as much as I thought it would. But I was just halfway really nervous for the fact that I still had to go through 4 books around the same amount of page count, and that was definitely something that I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that much time reading these books, because this book almost took me 1 month to read, and I don't mind that, but it is not a 5-star read for me. I'm going to sit on a 4-star for this one, simply because I love Kaladin, and the end, the last 200 pages, the story just took his flight, and so many amazing things were happening, and I am even after those 200 pages, and I did not expect to feel this way as I'm currently doing, but I definitely want to continue with Words of Radiance, which is a sequel, I think, and I really want to pick that one up, and I'm definitely going to pick that one up very, very soon. I don't know how, I don't know when, because I can't find the ebook, and I'm going to pack up everything behind me, I think probably next week, so I am not entirely sure how many books I want to keep out of those boxes, because I don't want to have like too many stuff laying around, but anyhow, that's completely something else. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely think that if you like epic fantasy, just give this one a go, especially if you like other works from Brandon Sanderson. I would not recommend this book to be your first entry in his world and in his books. I definitely think Mistborn is still the better entry to go to if you want to start reading Brandon Sanderson. I would not start with this one, because this is definitely different, and at the same time I enjoyed it immensely, and I definitely feel that I was a little bit conflicted throughout the story, simply because I didn't really know where we were going, where the characters were heading, and I feel that it doesn't really get clear what is going to happen or might happen in the next books towards like after 900 pages, and that's a lot to read before you get a little bit more clearance of what is actually going on. And before that, it is definitely a lot more focused on character building, world building, but I really love how Brandon Sanderson does this. I just really enjoy his writing style so much, and that definitely helps me getting to read this amazing chunky book. So will I continue the series? Absolutely. Is this one of 5-star as I expected it to be? No. It might actually change while reading the rest of the series, because I really didn't know what to expect when I got into this book, and it definitely wasn't completely what I had in mind. But at the same time, the fighting scenes were amazing. The characters, some of the characters I really enjoyed, and other ones really got into themselves towards the end of the story, and I started to enjoy them more and more and more. And yeah, I think I'm rambling currently, but I'll definitely continue reading the other books as well in the series. So let me know if you like to see other reading vlogs where I'm going to read Words of Radiance or Oathbringer. Just let me know if you like that in the comment section down below. And I'm hoping you all have an amazing day, whenever day it is you're currently watching this video. And I'm wishing you a lot of luck, and I'll see you guys next Saturday again. Till then, bye bye!